How's it going, guys? So it's official. Anthony Joshua will be defending his IBF heavyweight title against former title challenger Eric Molina. Now, it has to be said, this is not a fight that people really wanted. It's not a fight that really interests anybody. But, I'm not really going to complain about it because it's a best of a bad situation. I mean, the Vladimir Klitschko negotiations fell apart for whatever reason, and Vladimir Klitschko is going to be out for next year. For those of you who don't know, he pulled out of the Lucas Brown fight. So Vladimir Klitschko isn't an option, even though that's a fight that everybody wanted to see for Anthony Joshua. Joseph Parker has just had a fight recently, and he's I believe scheduled to fight Andy Ruiz for the WBO title. So that fight's not happening next. I mean, it was really a choice of a bunch of guys that no one really wanted to see Joshua fight. I mean, one of the people that were in the running for the fight was David Price, and I'm pretty sure that nobody wants to see David Price fight Anthony Joshua because, let's be honest, that's a mismatch. So yeah, I'm not really complaining about this fight. Okay, Eric Molina, he's not a terrible heavyweight. He does have a lot of power. He is fairly strong. He does come to fight. That's one thing I will say about Molina. He's not going to come in to just lay down. But at the same time, I am picking Anthony Joshua to win. I think he's probably going to win this fight by knockout, and I see it being a early to mid rounds knockout. Eric Molina, for those of you who don't know, he's 25-3 with 19 knockouts. All of his defeats were by knockout. He was infamously stopped in the first round against Chris Arreola, and of course he was stopped in the ninth round against Deontay Wilder. Those are the ones everybody knows about. Against Deontay Wilder, he actually gave Deontay Wilder a lot of problems. He had Wilder out on his feet a couple of times. And, there were just a lot of moments in that fight where he would get very close and he would push Wilder back a bit. And, Wilder did really have a very uncomfortable night against this guy while it lasted. So yeah, Molina's he's not an easy fight. He's not a guy that's just going to be a walkover. You're gonna have to be careful against this dude. He's got a very powerful overhand right. He's got a powerful left hook. I mean, he's coming off a knockout victory against Thomas Adamek. Now, Thomas Adamek is washed up. Okay, there's no doubt about that. He's past his prime, so it's really hard to understand how much credit to give Eric Molina for that knockout. But again, okay, he's just a heavy-handed guy. He's a powerhouse. He's a guy who's very, very big in build. He's very bulky. He's very strong. And he could land a shot early in the fight, and you never know. We could see Anthony Joshua's chin tested, but I just think that at this stage, Anthony Joshua's, his size, he's about 6'6". He's got long arms, his big jab. I think it's too much for Molina. I can see him controlling Molina on the outside. I think Joshua, he seems to be pretty level-headed in there. He's not quite as wild as Deontay Wilder. Deontay Wilder, he's a guy who he tends to ignore his defense sometimes and start, windmilling shots and getting really wild and really sloppy and really emotional in the ring. Whereas Anthony Joshua, to me, looks a little bit more controlled. He looks a little bit more, rational in the ring with his decisions, with what to do. He sets everything up nicely with a jab. He's got a very accurate left hook that he likes to counter with. A brutal straight right hand. Okay, just ask Charles Martin about that. He has a very, 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 very good uppercut. He seems at this stage now. I'm not 100% sold on his stamina, but he seems to be in fairly good shape. Against Dominic Breazeale and against Dillian White, he paced himself very well. So even if his stamina isn't the best, even if it isn't great, he can pace himself and he can conserve his energy. And going in there against Molina, I can see Joshua for the first round being a little bit conservative. I can see him working patiently behind a jab. I can see Molina, trying to windmill punches, trying to land something big. And I just think that Anthony Joshua is going to find his timing. I think he's going to control him on the end of that jab. And I think he's going to knock him out. Because, as dangerous as Eric Molina can be, he doesn't have a great chin. Okay, that's one thing about Eric Molina that I've noticed, that he doesn't really have great punch resistance himself. So yeah, I'm taking Anthony Joshua to win. This is probably a quick video here, guys. Yeah, Anthony Joshua knockout victory. Within 6 rounds, I'll say. Maybe 7 or 8 if Molina, depending on depending on how determined he is, really. But I honestly think that Joshua, he could knock this guy out early. He really could. It could even be in the first round. Who knows? But we'll see, you know. And hopefully they're able to work something out to get that Klitschko fight for next year, because I think that Joshua versus Klitschko be a fantastic fight, you know, very interesting fight, and you know, it's the logical next step really for Joshua to fight Klitschko at this stage. So yeah, hopefully that fight gets made, or hopefully maybe a fight against Joseph Parker. I expect Joseph Parker to defeat Andy Ruiz. If that fight does end up going ahead, I think he's going to win that fight. So that would mean that he would be the WBO champion, and a fight against Joshua would become a unification. So yeah, I'll be interested to see that. That'll be very cool. Let me know what you guys think. Thanks for watching.